If anything can repair it, it would be that thing. So they've already opened up the door for that. So it'll probably be back, and it'll be longer and bigger and heavier and shit.
2 times strong.
Yeah, I'll have double blades. Um, Welcome, Nerd Chatter, a weekly podcast where we discuss stories throughout the week from the film, gaming, and tech industries. We got Lucas and Kenny with me today. What up, boys?
What's happening?
Hey, what up?
On this week's show, we go over a Fantastic Four casting rumors, a little bit of Mando season finale talk, and a number of smaller stories from throughout the week. But before we do that, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Be much appreciated. Gentlemen, we waited like 2 years, and Mando's already over. We had our 8 episode season. We're going to talk about that a little bit before we get going into the Fantastic Four and the other roundup stuff. But what did you guys think of the episode?
I'm like 50-50 on it.
It was a lot better episode than I think the rest of the season.
Really? Why are you 50-50 on it?
I liked all the way up till the very end.
Well, with like spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen it, you don't want to skip like 5 minutes, but...
Well, I mean, if you haven't seen it, go... What are you doing?
Yeah, it's streaming. It's the season
Right
finale,
there.
for fuck's sake. Like, go watch it. Are you talking about them, like, wrapping things up really quickly and, like, him being on a farm?
What was that? I mean, come on.
So basically what it is them being like, okay, so they destroyed the clone chambers, right, for Moff Gideon.
Right.
So that's kind of like that's them signifying the end of that clone arc. Same thing with like Grogu. They kind of just wrote off everything with him. It's like, they were using him to try to get some force power into these clones.
Right.
So those are done. That's all wrapped up, right? So Grogu's involvement with that is pretty much done. There's no more speculation as to whether or not he's a clone or if he's like a Yoda baby. Supposedly he's not a Yoda and Yaddle baby, but we'll see. But it wraps up that whole arc, right? And then you have Mandalore being retaken by Mandalorians, right? Like the what is it? The furnace?
Children, or the Great Forge.
Yeah, the Great Forge being restarted, and then you got that whole structure being rebuilt, right? You're gonna have tons of time of that entire society like rebuilding itself, but there's no overlooming threat there. You do have a little bit of like the mythosaur action going on where they can tap back into that, and then almost like a video game, like moving into the epilogue of like Red Dead 2, essentially. That's how it was, where they're just like, okay, here's a farm, you've done everything, there's no more worries, you don't have to worry about anything other than your basic little adventures that you're going to get into. So here's the game, So that's kind of what it seems like they're doing, is like, okay, we focused enough on this singular story and shoehorned in all these characters all this whole time. Now it's time to get back to like that season 1 aspect where you're going to go out and do your adventures. And even the armorer says that, right? She's like, go out, do your adventures. You got Grogu now. He's your apprentice, so go do your thing. Then you got his little holdup, his little shack, his little cabin, chilling, which has already been established before. Like, you guys got land here, we'll give you a spot. And then he's just chilling. There's no overlooming threat there. You still have like Thrawn with like Ahsoka and all that shit. But as far as like Mando, it kind of feels like they quickly wrapped up all of these overarching story plots, these threads. Which, I kind of bitched about it a little bit prior, a couple episodes ago, where it's just like, it kind of feels like we're getting into like a Dave Filoni, this is his chance to like really blow out his characters and his creations and that type of shit. And like it was becoming his sandbox. But this feels like it's like, okay, we're done with that. Now we're just going to wrap it up. You know what I mean? So, it might have felt weird, but it also felt like, oh, okay, cool. Like now we get to go back to like the whole season 1, him just fulfilling jobs, and at the end of the episode, it's for the New Republic. He'll be working on their behalf.
Yeah, what they said, he has to like go after all the Imperial.
Yeah, lingers.
Yeah.
Lingers.
Yeah, but give me some end credit though. Like, give me like a Thrawn
Yeah.
Little sneak peek. He gets word that Moff Gideon is dead.
Yeah.
And the Mandalorians are going to
Allegedly.
be on. So
I don't know.
Dead.
allegedly,
I heard some rumors that
he flew out of there before he exploded.
no, I mean this is for like Mandalorian in general's. Kathleen Kennedy like got really involved in
Mhm.
season like 2 and
Well, what's
3.
his name was like ready to walk out.
Yeah, supposedly Jon Favreau was like ready to walk because she was just like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, and really this Project Necromancer is, I'm sure Garrett would have been able to elaborate more, but it is direct correlation with ongoing cloning projects that would eventually lead to like Palpatine being brought back somehow, like he said in the movie. It's like I think Kathleen Kennedy came in there and be like, we got to save face of the movies that we fucked up, so let's shoehorn in this cloning storyline, which Moff Gideon's suit was kind of corny. It's like that whole like Iron Man needs to fight another Iron Man type of
Yeah.
I'm not making
Yeah.
like an MCU like reference specifically, but it's anything like that. You know what I mean? Where it's like the villain has to be a bad version of the hero. You know what I mean? If there's a gimmick.
Why was it robotic though?
Yeah, I don't know why it had like. Well, I mean,
you hear the sounds when you move.
you could hear
right?
the
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't know. It did just look like clone trooper armor, but it did have that extra force too. And he's not the special being. He's not like a Jedi or Sith or anything like that. He's not even a force user, but he had the
So-
ability to crush the darksaber in his hand.
Yeah, well, so like reading into a lot of that stuff, it seemed like those are supposed to be like the new suits for dark troopers,
Yeah,
and like those clones were supposed to be the dark troopers.
yeah. He was gonna play the whole Jango Fett role,
Yeah.
and also the whole symbolism with the black, the helmet, the voice, even the robotic nature of it, and even down to the cape, which he recommended.
Yeah.
He requested specifically.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, as
But
long as I do this
think,
part,
like,
I need a cape.
He wanted to
was
be
like-
Vader,
Right.
I think he had a big tie to like he is like a fanboy of like Mandalorians.
Yeah, which I mean, I even thought I was like, maybe he's just a Mandalorian, and he had the spikes on his helmet, which they didn't flush out, and Armor has the same horns on the top of her helmet for the most part.
Death Watch, yeah.
Death
That was another thing.
Watch,
Why
but
did I not
also,
get another spy?
well, I mean, they never explained who the spy was, which I thought it was like the little pirate guys that were just like,
that
fuck
Skinny
you.
Pete?
Yeah. Skinny Pete, yeah, Skinny Pete was
Skinny
it.
Pete the
Skinny
boys.
Pete
yeah.
or the Admiral from Maverick?
Yeah. I was like, has to be these people. Like they've given up. You know what I mean?
Oh, I thought it was
Yeah.
the armor. I thought that if it would have gone with the armor, that would have been a good M. Night
she's
Shyamalan
cool.
twist.
Yeah, but his twists suck and are predictable and shit. So like,
exactly, it was a twist.
yeah, I prefer her to just be a dope ass character because she's cool. You know what I mean? So like, they didn't flesh out what that symbolism is, and like you said, it's it's the Death Watch, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Death Watch.
But you also have the Mandalorians, which is the faction, I believe, of the Death Watch. It
Yeah.
might just be of the Mandalorians, but the ones that followed Darth Maul after he had gotten his robot legs and try to
Take
come
it
back
over,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why they have the symbols of horns.
Yeah, so like they didn't flesh out any of that, which would be super confusing to like anybody. Like you'll be like,
Just
wait,
start a
what?
whole nother story
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the very last
I
episode.
mean, like Maul is dead right now.
He's dead now, yes, but like trying to explain that would be like, wait, what? Because most people aren't familiar with the fact that Darth Maul even survived after Episode 1.
Right.
The majority of your casual viewers of the Star Wars lore, they saw him get chopped in half. They didn't know that he got robot legs. They came back to run to lead a fucking Mandalorian
Ran a marathon.
weird
Yeah.
like sect. Like they didn't do any of that. They didn't flesh out any of that. So it was kind of weird. It was like it was throwing me for a loop, like what they were trying to refer or reference, I guess, when it came to the horns and the helmets. But all in all, I mean, it didn't look bad. I think it was just something with his helmet where it's like, damn, it's fucking dark. I can't see that shit. Like, I can't see the details. I can't see like how dope it is. You know what I mean? It's like you see Paz's helmet, and his helmet's just like sick because you could like see just how like defined and like poppy it is. And even Mando, which is how chrome it is, and you can see the edges and stuff. But
Yeah.
Moff Gideon's helmet was just like, I could barely see his eyes. Like, it's like, I don't have a shitty TV. It was just like there was just so much black going on.
Yeah.
Yo,
And
how
not to
dope were
mention,
those was it the TIE bombers?
oh yeah, you get the TIE bombers and the interceptors and shit
The way they
again.
just straight out dropped.
Yeah, I liked all that. It was kind of stupid how they left it. Like, I mean, he's probably not dead, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, if
I
you
think
don't
he's
see
gonna come back.
them get stabbed like Paz, then
Yeah.
they're not dead. And especially when it comes to Star Wars and people like getting set on fire and shit, like. And he has Mandalorian armor on, so it's like he probably wouldn't be as fucked up. But
That cape is the same material made out of John Wick's suit.
it's voodoo hide, whatever the fuck. I don't know. Wikipedia has all these answers and shit. So yeah, I thought it was like, yeah, I thought it was cool. Grogu's whole involvement with the IG-12 aspect of it. IG-11 coming back at the end was kind of like, yeah, whatever. And like that
Yeah.
There
thing's
was
gonna
people were
ramp
talking
it.
about Boba Fett coming in to rescue.
Yeah, and he never showed up.
Yeah.
Super weird too, because he ends up. Well, I guess he's on Tatooine, right? And then Mando ends up on the one planet with what's his name? Fucking Creed. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it's like, it's a quick little wrap up. But I'm actually very satisfied with the fact that I don't have to worry about details from a previous season and who's doing what. And it'll just be nice to have like, oh shit, like something's going on in the background. You can hear them talking about Thrawn, or he's going to have to break off and go help with such and such. The Ahsoka, make an appearance there, and then
Yeah, we'll have to see like how big of a time jump there is between
Yeah.
like season 4 and like Ahsoka and all that.
I
What
mean
happened to
that.
Dr. Pershing though? Like whatever happened to that story?
So
got
think
so confused.
I think what it was, and I've been thinking about this since I saw it, is that she was just a legitimate spy for the Empire, and he was so willing to help the New Republic get all this information regarding Project Necromancer, and
So now he's just a vegetable.
so yeah, she just vegetized him, because he would be endangering the information regarding Moff Gideon's whole cloning operation, which in turn would shine light and give away the whole secret with Palpatine being in the background. I don't think Moff Gideon was working towards that though. I think he was just
No,
doing
I think
his
he's
own
doing
thing.
his own, his
He
own
was
thing.
doing his own thing, right?
Yeah, but the whole study is how he comes back, and supposedly, and I watched a video online where they're talking about it, speculating where it's like, Palpatine and Red Letter Media, or one of the guys on Red Letter Media got it right actually, kind of got shit talked after he made the suggestion, but supposedly Palpatine did die in the Death Star explosion in Return, and because of all this jet or force fuckery, he was able to transfer his conscience into one of these clones, which, because of what's happening now, like how the the ability to successfully make these clones has become increasingly more difficult because of all this shit that they're trying to explain in Mando. That's why he was all fucked up, because it's just like an incomplete like clone, like it wasn't actually Palpatine. It was Palpatine's conscience in one of the clones that was like deteriorating and shit. Then supposedly like Snoke is actually a clone of Darth Plagueis potentially, and that was Palpatine trying to find a being strong enough to handle his force abilities, like his dark side abilities. And the only way that he could use the DNA was from a point where he had access to the DNA, which would be after he killed him. That's why Snoke looks all fucked up. So there's like a bunch of shit that could be explained from just this whole Moff Gideon little twist. I mean, I don't want to dwell on it too much, and when next time we have Garrett on, we'll talk more about it, because we'll have an entire, like 9 months to wait for whatever the fuck. But one thing that confused me, and even confuses me now, but like the little thing in the center of their chest, it's like an indentation. It's almost like a gem.
Yeah, it's like symbolism or something.
It has
like
a name. It has a name.
Yeah, I forget what it is.
I thought that is supposed to signify like a true Mandalorian, right? Like that's like the sim. It's like people could have armor and all that shit, but that little gem shape is what's supposed to signal. But everybody has it.
Yeah, like even like Din had it.
Even Boba has it. You know, like I looked. It's like everybody has it. And then now, you know, Moff Gideon had it. And it's like, I don't it's like I guess it's just a design trait now, you know. It's just a consistency with the style. So that confused me as well, but I don't know. I dug it. I'll give it like a Grogu fight scene could have been better, you know, like he wasn't whipping as much ass as I'd hope he would, so I'll give it like a 7 and shit.
Well, that fool had to hop around like a bunny for like half the scene.
Which was funny, but like, you know. And then how dramatic it was when he like tumbled to the ground and got covered with the pipe and shit.
Oh, bro, and I was like, oh, this is where he dies?
Oh no.
The diamond thing is called the Iron Heart.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It's the Carta.
Yeah.
Carta Beskar.
So I mean, I can understand with Jango Fett because he stole his armor from Mandalorian, and possibly even Boba Fett because he inherited that same armor, even though it doesn't look the same for the most part.
Yeah.
But again, it gets even further thrown out the window when Moff Gideon has it as well and shit, which is why I was like, oh, so he must be a Mandalorian, and like, you know, he's shifted to the bad side, you know.
Diehard weeboo of
Yeah, he's just a fucking fanboy, bro. What the fuck?
yeah.
He's a fucking cultist and shit. He's a Snyder cultist and shit. So, you know, I mean, I'm just burnt out on these whole like 8 episode season bullshit.
Yeah, give me like 10, 12 episodes.
Yeah, give me like 12 at least. Half of what TV shows are. At least like half of what TV shows are,
Yeah.
which is typically 22 to 24 episodes. Give me like 10 to 12 episodes.
Because everything like then like won't feel rushed.
Yeah.
Like you can like draw things out. Like I like obviously we all thought there was gonna be more like to do with like the mythosaur and stuff, and it was just like it was just like glimpses of it.
Yeah.
And
Which I mean, you do have Grogu implying that Grogu's communicating with him.
Yeah.
Way down there. How he knows that he's down there, I don't know. Probably felt him or something.
I mean, feels them. You know?
But yeah, I figured the last episode was gonna be called Mythosaur, and that there was gonna be some battle on the earth, on the surface of Mandalore, and
Yeah, like
this thing would burst out of the fucking ground, and like there'd be
With
this
Grogu
big
on his
battle.
back.
Yeah, with just Grogu on his like his forehead and shit, and then like they fly up, and I don't know if Mythosaur can fly, but if they could fly up into space and shit, and blow lasers, whatever, like all this
It
crazy
just
shit.
looked like Game of Thrones all over.
just
again.
like
Yeah. No,
Monster Hunter.
no space whales, no nothing. It was just this little confined story. Although the Mandalorian like aerial fight was dope.
Oh, that
I've
was
seen
sick.
I've seen clips of Rebels, I think it is. Might be wrong, but Rebels or maybe even Clone Wars, where they do that. They had that type of battle, and they recreated it in the show, and it even looked good when she was flying around with the Darksaber, Rip.
yeah.
But it's like it had like the animation twist to it. Like the look of it had like a slight, like it looked like the show. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, they allowed it to go a little bit unrealistic just so that it gave off that look that it does in the cartoon. You know, the CGI.
So Darksaber's done.
No,
I mean-
because where were they when they ran into that droid?
Yeah,
Oh, the saber droid, the one that made
yeah,
that has
so
all the
that
collections.
droid is like a Jedi,
He's a Jedi droid.
like, droid, yeah.
1,000+ year-old droid.
Older than
that
Yoda, yeah.
Yeah, older than Yoda, knows and has like touched like every lightsaber or some shit,
Yeah, so
something like that. So if
Goes around
anything,
touching all the lightsabers.
yeah.
if anything can repair it, it would be that thing. So they've already opened up the door for that. So it'll probably be back, and it'll be longer and bigger, and heavier and shit.
2 times stronger.
Yeah, it'll have double blades. So yeah, I mean, you know, final scores, I give it a 7 out of 10. What do you guys got?
Yeah,
I'll do an 8 out of 10. I liked it. I just needed a better ending. I needed a gooder ending.
It's that hour earlier podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's throwing me off there.
Yeah, we're
Obviously,
recording this at 5:46 in the morning because fucking Lucas has to go somewhere and shit.
No, I give it like a 7.5. Like it was a good ending. Like it tied up all the stuff, but I feel like there could have been some more stuff that could have been added,
Yeah.
maybe fleshed out more.
nothing angered me. You know, nothing like pissed me off that it wasn't explained or whatever. So we got 7, 7.5, and 8. So we're floating around like a 7.5 average. It is what it is, but you know, I'm pretty optimistic about the future of the show for sure. Next one on here, Fantastic Four casting rumors. Adam Driver as Reed Richards and potential Mila Kunis as Sue Storm.
Interesting.
Mila Kunis.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take it, bro. I'll take it. Just like I took Jessica Alba. You know what I mean?
Suck balls, and I'll still go watch that.
I mean, the other Fantastic Four movies suck balls, and I was all for it. So it's like, yeah. You know, we got Pomona Girl, got to represent and shit. Used to see her at fucking like Albertsons and shit. But yeah, I mean, you know, I was okay with Jessica Alba being probably the same reasons that I'd be okay with Mila Kunis being in that role. But with you know, Adam Driver, it's like
that one's kind of iffy. I thought that, you know, I think people were expecting him to be Doctor Doom.
Yeah, I mean, mainly because he is. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about the dude's looks and shit because
he's just
chicks do find him attractive, but me, it's like
weird, right?
This one's got some big ass head and shit.
Yeah, I was watching 65 and I was just like, he's got a big dome.
Yeah, he just has big facial features. Let's just put it that way. So it's like, you know, I can see how putting him behind a Doctor Doom mask forever would be
his face. You know?
Yeah.
Like a Funko Pop.
Yeah. So it was like, you know, you know, but the thing is, he's a good actor. He's solid. He's got range. You know, he's, you know, he could be thrown in there and probably do well. I've never seen him with short enough hair to have like Reed Richards style hair, and it's probably because he has like gigantic ears, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Most likely has gigantic ears.
His wings, so he can just doesn't fly away.
So like, we'll see. I mean, acting wise, it's, you know, he could definitely pull it off, but like look wise, and even Mila Kunis, like look wise, doesn't even make any sense and shit. Like,
well, I could do like Mila Kunis like probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Before she lost like 200 pounds.
Yeah, she looks mad skinny, but she looks exactly how skinny you would expect somebody with her like frame to look at that age anyways. You know what I mean? She's not like anorexic style, but like she just looks older, and of course because she weighed like, I don't know, 70 pounds and shit when she was younger, she's only gonna max out at like 100. You know what I mean?
And it's her raspy. I mean.
Oh, her smoker.
Like her raspy voice. Is that going to work for the character?
Her little screechy voice. I mean, we'll see. Whatever. I still
they got,
like
three other characters that are possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, this is all just. It's not.
The biggest one being her.
And this is, you know, going to like our Instagram. You know, it's like it's been a really slow like week and a half of news.
Yeah.
And people that do follow that, the handful. You know, it's being updated accordingly. It's not that like I'm slacking, you know, or missing stories or whatever. It's just like I'm not gonna post anything on you know, such and such's opinion about this movie, or you know, anything like that. Rumor mill is like not something I'm interested in. You know, it's like as soon as you hear confirmation that Adam Driver is like Reed Richards, then we would post it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to be the whole like
speculation.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna post all. It's like, oh, Reed Richards could be Adam Driver, and then like 20 minutes later, it's like, oh, also rumors that it could be fucking Tom Cruise, and it's like, what?
What?
Like, I don't want to be doing that. You know what I mean? So it's like Keanu should be Ghost Rider, but you know, whatever.
He wants to be. Do it.
Yeah, for the most part. You know, so I mean, you know, this is speculation. This is not confirmation, but as of right now, rumor is potential, like just shy of signing the deal, Adam Driver for Reed Richards. Kind of jarring. You have Jonathan Majors out there beating people and shit, but like Jonathan Majors, where in the film for some reason they chose to like have him just be the representation for Kang in all variants for some reason. Like they have non majors, you know, Kangs, but they're all like animals or like rock creatures or whatever, you know. But I remember in that scene, like Quantumania, every single Kang that you see is Jonathan Majors. So it's like,
I wonder what's gonna happen with that now.
it's pretty bad. That's not looking good. You know, and like he was getting dropped after the first claim, and then all these other claims of abuse starts coming out, and it's like,
Well,
well,
his agency dropped him.
yeah, which is crazy. Which is crazy. You don't
That just
normally hear
makes the
that one.
fighting in Creed 3 that much more realistic.
Yeah,
Right.
he's just gonna be that more aggressive.
Yeah.
He's a
Creed
real
4.
real method actor.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he was juicing shit for
He's
that
still
role or
stuck in
some shit.
that. That's still stuck in that character.
So I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. I don't, MCU is just in shambles right now.
Just when they were coming back up.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, we'll have to see. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe a variant. A variant of Kang will take over. It'll be just a bunch of different. All
yeah,
of a
it'll be
sudden,
a different universe.
yeah,
It's gonna be a completely like a white guy now.
yeah, like
No,
the original
Mexican,
Kang, where he's like a redhead or whatever and shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He'll be Mexican.
Yeah, it'd be some like Latino phone and shit.
Yeah, but he's gonna roll up in a low rise.
No, he'll just be like some mad like Bicep phone and shit. Some like ranchero phone. Shit.
bumping a chorizo.
Yeah, freaking drinking a Corona and shit. Hell
Modelo,
yeah.
we'll give
Look
him
at
a
this.
little bit of a
Put them on Modelo and shit. Hell yeah. So I mean, we'll see.
What's up, fool?
I don't know, like Adam Driver as Reed Richards, it could pass, but not my first choice for sure. Mila Kunis, definitely not my first choice, but I'd take it. See what's up. Bring back Jessica Alba. That's what I'm saying.
She's too busy being organic and all that other stuff.
My wife has her products. I see Honest Company logos
They're like
like every day
everywhere,
and
dude.
shit. I mean, hey, she made some fucking money, bro.
She made a lot of money on that.
Yeah, made some fucking money. Next one on here, Knuckles spin-off show on, for Paramount Plus, confirmed. Did you guys see Sonic?
No.
I haven't. No.
I saw the first one, and I was like, yeah, that's not bad. It's not like super terrible. Not as bad as like Garfield, but it's kind of like that same like headspace. You know what I mean? Where you got to be really okay with the fact that this thing looks unrealistic as fuck, like the CGI creature and shit. Working alongside live actors.
Right.
But it was okay. The second one I watched on my plane flight back from Disney World. I watched it in the seat because they had like the TV built in the seat and shit. And it was okay. I mean, it was Idris Elba as Knuckles, which sounds fucking weird. But I mean, it worked okay. But yeah, I no confirmation as to whether Idris is going to be playing Knuckles in the spinoff for Paramount Plus, but it is something that the Sonic lovers out there, which there are like actual hardcore Sonic fans out there, they can get a little bit extra content. I'm not going to say I recommend you guys watch Sonic and shit. It's not one of those, but you know, it good enough to where it's getting its own spinoff.
He was really the voice of Knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't.
Like straight his voice too, not like
Really?
yeah,
Like
it
not
wasn't
even,
like,
like,
he didn't
covering
try to
it?
get rid of his accent. He didn't try to like lighten up the voice. It's all gritty and shit.
Knuckles is British too.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Now given, I mean, the character's demeanor in the film did match the way he was acting it. You know, it wasn't like, oh, that's weird. It's like Knuckles, the character, is kind of like played as a badass anyways, so he kind of like has that, you know. He's like the brute. So, the way they set it up though, with like Tails and Knuckles and all this shit, you know, it's like, yeah, they're building a nice little universe. So I mean, it's watchable. It's not a must watch though, but
Oh, well, maybe I'm getting Tails confused with Knuckles then.
yeah, Knuckles is the red one with he has the slightly bigger hands with those spikes on him and shit.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
like
I'm
kind of like that's my favorite one, Sonic and
'cause
Knuckles.
Tails is more like the more hyped up.
Yeah, he's the one that
Tails
floats
is
around.
the actual like fox looking dude.
He's the
Yeah,
fox, yeah,
yeah,
with the two tails.
That would be weird if that was his voice.
Yeah, his is, I forget who it is. The voice actor for that does a really good job. I remember. Kiddish, has like a kiddish demeanor
say,
to
like,
it.
more teenage, right?
Yeah, and playful but very expressive, you know. So I think that's what held it together was like the voice acting was actually pretty good and shit. I mean, if you're into it and you haven't seen it, you know, and you got some free time, give it a watch, but nothing too crazy. Next one on here, And the reason why we probably didn't have it in Hogwarts Legacy, but Harry Potter Quidditch Champions announced. Supposedly this game's been in works for years, and is a standalone online multiplayer Quidditch like simulator game. Kind of has a Rumbleverse style art style. It's not hyper realistic like Hogwarts Legacy, but it is a Quidditch game. What do you guys think?
They still should have added it to Hogwarts Legacy.
Maybe. I mean, it just depends.
Give
on
us like a little dabble, not just flying around.
Well, I mean, in the story though, and if I'm not mistaken, it's actually lore. I mean, they could have just written it in for Hogwarts Legacy, but Headmaster Black did shut down Quidditch for a period of time, or it is written in there. And because he's a dick, he was considered like the worst of all the headmasters. Like, totally believable for them not to be able to play like Quidditch just because he's a dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see it. I mean, at the same time, it's like they would have to worry about multiplayer and lobbies and shit. They're not going to waste their time implementing something that specific for that for something that's not really gonna help the story, help the gameplay, that type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, they would have to have some type of multiplayer aspect with it. But this one is a standalone, multiplayer. Like I said, and I mean, I could even use Fortnite as the art style. It's that cartoony, crisp, sharp art style.
Does it have J.K. Rowling in it?
J.K. Rowling is said to not have any involvement, and that they're only using her stories.
They're gonna have a Ultimate Team feature where you're gonna have to buy packs.
Quidditch package.
Yeah.
And you have no idea who any of the characters
Any of
are.
them
You're
are,
just
yeah.
like, okay, I guess this person's cool and shit. I mean, again, it is also called Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. You know what I mean? So the time frame that we're dealing with here may very well be within the time frame of the original films, or the new time frame for the films.
He's the head coach.
Harry's the head coach and shit. So I mean, my whole thing with Quidditch to begin with was like, how the fuck do you play a game like that where a character is expected to guard 3 different hoops at once, and then also a game where 3 classes of players are playing like completely different games simultaneously?
You know how sweaty that's gonna be?
Oh god, like people focus their entire lives on just being goalies and shit and think they're all like hard and shit. Like, bro, fucking relax, bro. It's Quidditch Champions, dog. It's Quidditch Champions.
It's not even a real sport.
This is a fucking video game, bro. This is not real. This is a fantasy sport.
It's real to me.
It's gonna be real.
I mean, like, think about it. Think about how it is to be a beater, giggity, to be like a goalie, to be a catcher,
Catcher and a beater.
like, yeah, well, which one's which and shit. Like, it's just so random, so weird. Like, it's gonna be a mess. So I mean, I'm just curious as to how they're actually gonna do that. Pretty positive it did say it was gonna be a multiplayer game. So I'm willing willing to see what the fuck's going on there.
I bet you Jonathan Majors is a good beater.
Damn, bro. Fucking too soon, shit. Too soon, bro.
Damn.
Too soon. Next one on here, Amazon Prime Video launches dialogue boost feature. Amazing.
Thank God.
Which allows users to increase the dialogue of a film while leaving the background volume untouched. Isn't that awesome? It's like a good feature.
Dude.
I mean,
You're welcome.
the Kenny out there doing the Lord's work and shit, fucking cutting himself and shit.
He must have put that in the suggestion box.
He's like years ago, bro. So it's like I do get that where it's like the bass drowns out and it's like, what the fuck do they say? And I'm getting older, so it's like, what do they say? Like you lose like 2% of your hearing every year, from birth or some shit. Like, bro, I'm pushing it. I have to be down like 25% by this.
I'm already at
80%. Like, I'm at least, yeah. And like that's another thing is like based on what else you've been doing and shit. It's like my chick can hear like everything. I think it's also the acoustics in the room, just like where I'm sitting and shit, but she can hear like everything that's being said on TV. And then me, it's like, it's very loud and I can hear everything, but like the crispness of the words like really fucking triggers me and shit. So it's like, I typically lower the volume and listen more carefully, just because like the bass from the TV or the soundbar like drowns it out. So like this being a nice little feature is actually pretty sick. On Amazon Prime, we have a lot of new content coming up from Amazon, so I'm down. It's something I pay for.
So it's just like really shitty, and it's just like blast the dialogue.
Dude, it's like the most trebly, like all the fucking bass all the way down and shit. It's like breaking glass and shit. You could hear like the lips smattering.
The microphone's poking into the actual frame.
Yeah, it's like fucking Kenny and shit opening a fucking Snickers bar on the show and shit. Next one on here, James Gunn announces the completion of Superman Legacy script and is now moving to pre-production. Hallelujah. That's a busy motherfucker, dude. He's got all this Guardians of the Galaxy 3 shit that's going on. I see him like doing like interviews and pictures and red carpets here and there and all that shit, and it's like he had all that going on and still managed to write an entire, like, presumably, like, I don't know, it's typically the rule of thumb is a script is like a page a minute. So like, 90 to, what do you think, 180 pages, of a full-blown screenplay that's probably going to be edited down, so a couple hundred pages. He had time to actually do that through the holidays, through the release of the holiday special, Guardians of the Galaxy, and on top of like trying to like wrangle all these DC properties into like one little like umbrella, you know what I mean? So James Gunn has been one busy motherfucker.
Or Chat GPT is busy.
Yeah, or Ghostwriters and Chat GPT and shit. Hey, that's also another comforting aspect, because fuck, Chat GPT could definitely write a better movie than fucking Zack Snyder and shit. Yeah, burn, bitch.
And we're done.
So yeah, that means it's pre-production, you know what I mean? So you still got planning, they got to scout locations, now they got to get into casting, it's all the juicy shit. So the pre-production, the
You
whole
could do
like
all this within like at least a year, because we're talking 2025 release date.
it is like a 2020, it's like January something or something like that. But yeah, he'll get all this done within the next 6 months. Principal photography will probably start like beginning of next year, I would assume, unless he hoofs it. He's obviously been thinking about casting since like day one. He's been talking about it, so he might already have people in mind and contact them and all that shit. Adam Driver coming in strong with that fucking Superman role and shit. So we'll see, but that is good news on the Superman front. Superman Legacy.
What if it is Adam Driver?
It has been speculated, but everybody has been speculated by this
He just
point.
comes in. It's like,
He's also too old,
good
though.
suit.
They're getting rid of the older Superman, so they're going for like early 20s, mid 20s,
He's
I
perfect.
believe.
He's perfect.
He looks like he's like fucking 50 and shit. But yeah, no shade. Adam Driver's dope, but just not Superman. Please don't do Superman. If you're gonna do it, just go to Nick Cage, bro. Just quit fucking around. Just get back to Nick Cage.
Imagine Nick Cage
Get
as
to it.
Superman.
We already have the pictures and shit. We were so close.
But it's Nick Cage from Gone in 60 Seconds. Nick Cage.
No, Nick Cage from Ghost Rider 2, where he's like crazy
God.
off the fucking wall, out of his fucking mind, lunacy bullshit. Hell yeah, that Nick Cage.
Oh, man.
Well, next one on here, I'm actually going to throw this one in here. I actually need to find the article and retweet it on Twitter, but supposedly one of the lead creators of the Battlefront series back in the day, early 2000s, Battlefront 2 from 2005, the one that everybody loves, supposedly Battlefront 3 was like 99% complete. And that it was like it was inches away from a touchdown, they said. So we were a hair away from having a Battlefront 3 before EA scrapped it. What do you guys think? Did you guys play Kenny, didn't you say you liked the...
Yeah, I loved playing Battlefront 2.
So how's it feel now knowing that Battlefront 3 was like potentially like ready to be packaged and delivered, and then they just scrapped it?
I'm very sad.
Yeah, that does suck.
That's rough.
You sound very sad.
Supposedly it would be like super sick too. Like the advancements they made into it would be like, people would love it and that type of shit. But I wanted to throw it in there because Battlefront 2, the more recent game, is like one of my favorite shooters. We had talked about it before, and I figured I'd mention it. But yeah, that was something that squeezed out. And I think he was like, I think enough time's been elapsed, and enough games have come out to where now I can really say how pissed off I am about this. And he let it go on the internet. So sad day, Kenny, Sag.
Yes.
Next one on here, Galaxy Quest streaming series coming to Paramount Plus. Got some Paramount Plus releases coming here. The original Galaxy Quest movie from the late 90s, I think it was like 99, featuring who was it?
Tim Allen
and Sigourney Weaver, looking all kinds of fine in that movie. I remember that.
Alan Rickman,
Rip, a true legend. Justin Hammer, fuck.
Justin Long.
I mean, Justin Long might have been in it, but no, he wasn't it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in it.
Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
My man Sam Rockwell. Also in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He was in Iron Man. One of my favorite characters actually in Iron Man. I love Justin Hammer. And supposedly he's coming back for Armor Wars.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. I think that'd be funny. I think he's just a good actor. And Duke can also fucking dance like crazy and shit. He did a little shuffle on stage in Iron Man, just as kind of like an homage to his addiction to like dancing. He was like a dancer in one of those like dance movies in like the 90s and shit. But yeah, I don't know how much of the original cast is going to return, if any. I think that's kind of a story that should probably just be left to time. It seems like a fairly cool little one-off story that they don't need to expand into like a show.
It's fucking Paramount Plus though.
It is Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some Halo coming up, I'm sure.
It's already trash.
Well, yeah, well, what happened with Halo? I mean, I'm not even talking about Halo. Fuck Halo and shit. Fuck all that shit.
There's still gonna be a season 2.
Well, maybe 2026 and shit.
Yeah. What to do?
Next one on here, Monster Hunter Now mobile game to be Niantic's attempt at marketing off the Monster Hunter universe. Previous mobile applications would be Pokemon Go, the incredibly successful Wizards Unite, Pikmin Bloom, and NBA All World. All horrible failures. horrible failures, but what do you guys think? I mean, you guys probably haven't even played Monster Hunter, right?
Oh, I love Monster Hunter. No,
you
I'm
do?
I'm a huge fan of Monster Hunter.
Oh, DS? Like 3DS?
No, I mean, I have Monster Hunter Rise on PC and on my Switch.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't mind Monster Hunter.
I don't know. I just like the grinding aspect of like, yes, it's repeatable, but like trying to like get like that 1-2% drop of a certain monster, and then being able to build like its armor, and
you got to take scales from like the same monster, and it'll take like 4, and you only get 1 every like maybe 3 runs or whatever. And
but also like learning a fight, like there obviously each monster has like a move set and like characteristics, and
unique
like,
traits,
and then like understanding like what moves it does at certain times, and like after certain like follow-up like moves, like it like being able to do that and like find windows to like when to attack and like when to block and whatnot.
They're different phases and all that stuff. Lucas, do you know what it is? Have you seen Monster Hunter?
No, but I'm just thinking about the games that were compared to. This Monster Hunter is not going to be well.
Yeah, not this one.
Just thinking about NBA All World.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna.
I can explain how. I mean, they didn't. I could definitely see it, but Monster Hunter, Lucas, it's a game where you're a hunter and you live in a society where there are monsters running rampant, and you got to go out and you can like take bounties or essentially to go and kill them. And then you harvest resources from the animal, and then you use the resources to make stronger armor so that you can then go find stronger opponents and take those down to then repeat the process over and over and over again. And the thing about the game is it's like you get everything ready, right? Certain weapons will do better, and there's so many different styles of weapons that you can have. God, Kenny, how many is it? It's got to be like at least a dozen, right?
Yeah, it's like 13, 14. It could
Yeah.
be more now, but yeah.
But it's
There's a
like
lot.
every class. It's like, you know, long range rifle. You know, there's like a spear. There's like chain weapons. There's kind of like a combination. What do they call them? Where it's like a combination between like a shield and a gun.
So that's there's a gun lance, there's a charge blade, which like is a sword and shield, but then like you combine them to turn into like a big ass like battle
That's
axe.
what I would play mostly if
There's
I could get away with it.
the switch axe, which is like a big sword, then turns into an axe.
Yeah, so there's an abundance of different play styles based
Yeah.
on the type of weapon that you choose, and then there's also an abundance of details for each monster that require you to learn their traits, learn their movements, their tells, like when to know when to attack, when to know to like avoid, how to properly work with other classes to chain. It's like you need a stagger, right? Like one, like the gun lance, for example, might trigger a stagger, which opens it up for other classes to come in and do their ranged attacks. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a cooperative aspect to this game.
Yeah.
So the game itself is dope. You know what I mean? The one that I played a lot of Dauntless.
Yeah.
Dauntless was a free to play. It's
Right.
same concept. It was more shiny. It was very like Fortnite-ish in that art style, and I thought it was fun. I kind of like maxed out before I stopped playing. Had all like the special gear and
Yeah.
super rare shit, and super fun. But it's not necessarily something that you would be like, oh, this is gonna be a dope mobile game. So Niantic. And my thing with Wizards Unite and Pikmin Bloom specifically was the invasiveness of their data tracking. Like they really didn't try to hide it, especially with Pikmin Bloom. They were just like, yeah, we're gonna take like everything, like where you go, where you like stop, like how long you're at your home, like where you go every day. Like they were gonna take everything. It was pretty disgusting. So that game failed. Wizards Unite famously only lasted for like a year, and then it got shut down. That one was super lame. I don't even want to get into explaining how that game was, but it was like
Yeah.
they took the concept of Pokemon Go and was like, okay, so how can we do Harry Potter around this? It's like, okay, well, the concept of Pokemon Go is inherently perfect for Pokemon because that's just the concept of the game, is out in the real world, you would encounter Pokemon that you would then catch to then battle.
Yeah.
So you could easily incorporate that into a mobile game like Niantic had. Monster Hunter, I can kind of see it leaning more towards that Pokemon aspect, right? Where you're walking around, then you're randomly going to engage monsters.
Yeah, and then I guess that then like there'll be like raids where you like fight like the stronger versions.
Yeah, and maybe instead of getting Pokemon added to your shit, you get mats added for you to then
Yeah.
craft your armor, which then makes your character what is actually what you're working on. Instead of finding better Pokemon or better monsters to have in your roster to fight, maybe it is going to be more along the lines of the game where you're fighting these monsters to get the precious materials off them to then be able to upgrade your shoulder pads, your chest armor, your helmet, and yada yada. So I could see it, but I think by this point the world's just over these whole like Niantic style mobile games. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
I
because
think
like even the Pokemon Go community right now is hella pissed off.
Yeah, they're done. I think we've maxed out in terms of like they still have Pokemon they can release, but it's like it's past a point where there's so many, it's just not worth like even trying anymore if you haven't, and then I want to keep trying this late in the game. Then they're like punishing people and it's just you can't walk this, the radiuses are different. Niantic fucks
Right.
around a lot. Like so another failure inbound from Niantic. I'm calling it now.
And also just like raising the prices of a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, remote raid passes in Pokemon Go increased. I don't know if they
Doubled.
increased. I don't know if they increased the rate. I think what they did was they put a cap on it.
No, they increased the price of it too.
Did they?
Yeah, it's like double the price of what it originally.
And then they
was.
like have the amount of that you can get in like a day and shit.
Yeah.
And it was like stupid because the only reason I was doing raids to begin with was based on the free raid passes that they would give me.
Yep.
I wasn't even buying raid passes, so it's like, okay, so I'm definitely not gonna buy that shit now.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
exactly.
So they're a little, I mean, this is a company that's trying really hard to like get that second wave of popularity again, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm sure there's ideas out there that would work, but I don't know. They might just want to start working with amusement parks to do little enclosed mobile apps for amusement parks to have like another layer of AR interaction or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do little side commissions like that, because I don't think they're getting another Pokemon Go anytime soon. Nintendo Switch modder released from prison to now have to give Nintendo 25 to 30% of his income for the rest of his life. So this guy was like part of a crew of people that were modding Switches, which let people play like emulated games and stuff like that. Same shit back in high school. Lucas, I don't know what was his name? Fuck, I forget his name. There was a dude in high school. I remember Sonny. He had a modded Xbox, and then he told me who he got his modded Xbox from. So I went to that dude. He's like, yeah, you got to take me out to like Whittier or whatever, and like, fucking,
Back alley.
yeah, some back alley shit. And it really was. It was like some electronic shop, like Asian family owned electronic shop, and he went in there with like $250. He dropped my shit off, and a couple weeks later, he brought it to school and he gave it to me. And yeah, I had a modded Xbox that let me burn games straight to the hard drive and play. And motherfucker got real use out of his Blockbuster 5 rentals a week pass. I'll tell you what. But yeah, this dude is doing that same shit for Switch. A little rougher these days, a little harder, especially with internet connections and shit.
And then everything being digital.
And yeah, DRM and all that stuff. But yeah, Nintendo banged this dude hard, got sent to prison for tons of time, and fined like over $10 million. But he got released due to good behavior, because he's not a fucking criminal. Like he obviously, yeah, he's doing something illegal, but the motherfucker doesn't belong in prison, you know what I mean? But he got released, and just the way that it works, that money doesn't just disappear, you know what I mean? That responsibility to pay. So yeah, he's gonna have his wages garnished for the rest of his life until he pays off that $10+ million, or until he dies. And I'm assuming that probably next of kin would probably have an issue coming up with that too. You know what I mean?
Nintendo's like, hey, where's their money?
Yeah, and we had talked about it. Nintendo doing some shady shit. Just Nintendo being Nintendo. I think it was me and Kenny were talking about it, right?
Yeah, I think
the
last
art
week.
book for
Yeah.
Zelda. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to go after this dude, and it was like, oh, they just want to know who he's like. Now they want to screw the fuck out of this dude. Like, that's the only reason that Nintendo goes after information is for litigation. You know what I mean? So they're going after Tears of the Kingdom leaker for a couple pictures being released and shit. And I guess Nintendo going after a YouTube channel that mods Nintendo games. He modded Breath of the Wild to have like a multiplayer aspect to it. So you actually had like an image of a bunch of people playing together on Breath of the Wild, which is kind of cool. But it was all for fun, you know what I mean? But they went after this dude. They struck his channel twice, 3 times, and you're out. And they're basically just like trying to destroy this guy's YouTube channel simply because, and with falling within terms of service, like technically you can't even stream that game. You can't stream it, you can't record it, you can't do anything. It's against TOS. But also there's exemptions for like content creators. And within those exemptions, this guy falls within, it's transformative. Obviously, he's modding it. So we'll see. It's just Nintendo being Nintendo. But this one in particular is like crazy because this one probably will never go away. This dude's fucked for the rest of his life. Too harsh?
I don't know, maybe.
I think they're just making an example out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that works when it's like you do it like once or twice, but this is just like common practice for Nintendo. This is just how they do it. I don't know if $10+ million is reasonable. I don't know about $10 million, bro. Like, chill out. Example or not, that's a bit crazy. Next one on here, first gameplay for Unrecord releases, causing a bit of outrage, boys. So Unrecord is a game. I saw this a while back. I just saw like a picture of it or like a clip. But it is a head-mounted body cam, like GoPro, first-person shooter. The thing about it is that it looks super real, like hyper real. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
like a lot of people were like, "Is this like real, or is this real body cam footage, or is this like just an actual video game?"
100% believable. A couple
Yeah.
movements, you could tell where there's just like, oh, the human body wouldn't be able to move that fast. But as far as everything from camera angle to hand placement to movement to everything, environment, hyper realistic, to the point where it was just kind of triggering people because of like the mass shootings and all this body footage, all body cam footage of officers engaging these crazy fucks, and like it looked like that. You know what I mean? And like it looked legit, precisely like that. So I mean, I'm excited just because I like that. I like the fact that we're to the point where games look that crazy, but at the same time, I'm totally understanding on how that could affect certain crazy fucks a little differently than you or I. So what do you think in regards to that drama?
As far as people being super sensitive to everything nowadays,
Yeah.
it's gonna affect them, and it's gonna affect the whole gun control and everything, all that. So it's gonna go down the rabbit hole of really bad.
It'll be the same shit, but
I mean, look at Call of Duty got the same shit. Do we need another shooter game? With all the events that are happening in the world, and it's like,
I mean, I wouldn't even say like it's a matter of it being like just a shooting game. It's the fact that it looks like, it's like this is the closest a person gets to
like
seeing
an episode of Cops.
like how an actual, because body cam footage looks very particular. It has a very like raw realism to it. That when you see it, okay, like, yeah, I could see some crazy shit, or, like something on here is probably insane. You know what I mean? You gotta be worried about it. And this, it's like, yeah, you are in the shoes of that officer who's like engaging and shit. And it's like, eh. So I mean, I can say I'm not one for the whole oversensitive, PC 2023 2022 shit, but I could definitely see where it's like, yeah, the realism is the issue. It's like, yeah, I don't think people are ready for it. I think it's just an inappropriate time for that level of realism, but you can't stop progress. You're just gonna have to roll with it. I mean, I'll get it and I'll play it, yeah, for sure. But at the same time, I mean, there's some crazy fucks out there who just take shit the wrong way, and yeah, you can't do anything about it, but at the same time, you can be aware of it and acknowledge it. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'll buy it and play it.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it and I'll play it.
Put me in VR on that bitch.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought it was too. I was like, is this a VR game? Holy shit! I think it would be disorienting though if you're, they'd have to have like a slightly different view to where you're actually in the eyes if you're in VR, because I think the head-mounted camera with the fisheye would be really disorienting. Probably make you puke and shit. Next one on here, Will Ferrell led golf comedy produced by Ryan Johnson announced.
I don't know about it. I don't.
Is he even golf, bro? You even fucking golf, bro?
Supposedly he's an avid golfer.
Who? Ryan Johnson?
Will Ferrell.
Oh, Will Ferrell. Yeah, I could see. I mean, Will Ferrell is just Will Ferrell. I'm talking about Ryan Johnson. You fucking even golf, bro? Another.
See, I'll hold my opinions judgment until
The world does need more like Caddyshack, but I don't know if Will Ferrell would be the one that you want to like throw in there.
Yeah, I mean they're probably thinking like they're just gonna hit like lightning in a bottle with him and again.
Yeah, they're just feeding off the live drama. That's all they're doing.
Well, that and the Ryan Johnson shit, and I mean he's producing. I don't think he's directing it, but I don't know. Ryan Johnson already ruined Star Wars for me. He doesn't need to ruin golf for me too.
Ruin golf, yeah.
Yeah, it's like if he was making a soccer movie, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. A tennis movie, a racquetball movie and shit. But no, why golf, bro? Leave golf alone. Get the fuck out of here.
It's hot right
Ryan
now.
Johnson.
That's what's hot in the streets.
I mean, I don't even think that's true. I mean, I would say we'll see, but I'm not gonna see that shit. Fuck that movie. That's my take on that. Fuck that movie. Will Ferrell is definitely past his prime. Elf
Yeah.
was like the last for me, and that was like it. That was like ages ago. So we will have to see on that one. You guys tell me how that is, right?
Mm.
All right.
Microsoft removes Twitter from its social media tool after refusing to cooperate with Elon Musk's Twitter decision to charge businesses $42,000 for API support.
Business is business, baby.
I mean, this is like, by this point, though, he's like, yeah, I get it. He's not even trolling, though, because the decisions he's making are just like bad decisions. If he wanted to troll, he could be making some better decisions.
He's just hustling, dude.
I mean, hustling at a loss. He's like at a constant loss with this shit. So basically, this is not the only company that did this. It's like the majority of the company that did this. And on 420, Elon Musk finally made the move to remove all like grandfathered check marks away from profiles. So nobody has check marks anymore unless you're paying for it. Or if you're the handful of celebrities and athletes that Elon Musk himself decides doesn't have to pay it. Super weird. Really triggered off the Elon Musk fanboys, but
If you've been to his parties, you got a blue check.
yeah, you got a free blue check mark. But yeah, it was like it was really discouraging. It's like there's a difference, It's like for a normal bot that needs to use the API, it's like nothing, and then it's like a handful of dollars a month. And then if you're going to be a company like, New York Times or whatever that's pumping out articles and this and this and this and shit, there's like a cap. And if you need to surpass that cap, then it jumps from like dollars per month to $42,000 a month. And really it's just Elon Musk being like, well, I mean, these companies can afford it, so they'll pay it. And the companies are not paying it. So we talked about Twitter not having, or Instagram not having the Twitter share option anymore. We had seen a bunch of different outlets refusing, a lot of companies like rejoicing that they no longer have their check mark and shit. So this is the type of shit that would ruin Twitter. You know what I mean? Not like the other stupid shit. This is the type where it's like, okay, now companies are leaving in droves. Like, how am I supposed to bitch to, fucking Fuddruckers about my shitty service and shit, if they're no longer going to be reading, those tweets. And they get those tweets in a hub that these companies share. It's like they have their hub where, everything's coming into one little space, one person at a time. It's like it's like, oh, DM us for your personal info and we'll look into it. That person's not sitting on Twitter reading those messages. They're sitting at another application that's gathering from Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and yada yada. So those are the APIs that are getting targeted. You know what I mean? So companies, I really appreciate Twitter for the ability to like reach out and get results. You know what I mean? To actually bitch at McDonald's and then get some type of result at it. You know what I mean? Like, that is a thing. That is a very valuable tool when it comes to Twitter. And now he's like ruining it.
Yeah,
out of poor decision
pretty
making.
comical, like, to see all these like influencers and like media people like lose their check marks, and they're like, yeah, so I guess I'm not the real person anymore.
Yeah, anybody can be me and shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is, like I said, this is how you kill it, and this isn't being like edgy and making a fuck you type of statement. This was him being like pompous and making a bad decision, and now these companies are just like, bro, we don't need you. Like, we don't need you. You need us. You know what I mean? So we've reached that point. Once I lose the ability to like, bitch at Hobby Lobby and get some results, then that's when I no longer need fucking Twitter and shit. You know what I mean? So
Lobby.
next one on here, PlayStation demo for Street Fighter 6 lands. I don't even know if you guys partook. I did.
This was on what? Just on like PS4, right? It wasn't even on
For right now.
like
PS4,
PS5.
PS5. It is on PS5. I did play it on PS5. And I believe they had a PS5 download for it. Very strange. I don't remember the controls being that way. I haven't played since like Street Fighter 4 came out, so it's like I'm pretty out of it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I don't think anybody really has to rush out and to like get this shit. You know, you're not going to go buy a PS5 to try this demo for sure. So, you know, it is what it is. If you got a PS5, it's on there. It's very strange. You just like randomly go up to people in the streets and fight them, like running around like central, like literally Times Square. You're running around like Times Square, and I walk up to like a little old lady and challenge her to a fight, and I whoop her ass, and then I get some XP, and then I walk over to like some little punk ass sitting on a bench, and I like challenge him to a fight, and I whoop his ass. So like, you know, it's very strange, and then you'll fight like other players, but some of the controls seem different. I'm not going to comment on it because I'll probably sound like an idiot because I haven't played Street Fighter in a while, but I don't know. It kind of seems watered down. Maybe I'm just doing something wrong or whatever, but yeah, pretty strange. If you want to get tripped out and like some decision making, check out that demo for Street Fighter 6. And last one on here, Spider-Man, the original trilogy, as well as Amazing Spider-Man, and then the new Spider-Man Homecoming series are all returning to Disney Plus. Actually, have returned to Disney Plus, if I'm not mistaken, already, and that's like the first time ever.
Nice, about time.
Yeah, not how permanent this is. I'm sure not permanent. It's Sony, but for the first time, you can go onto to your Marvel tab on Disney Plus, and you can see all the Spider-Man films alongside all the Avengers films, and hell, even the X-Men films from Fox and shit. So,
Yep.
I'm gonna throw that out there for all you Spider-Man fans. Go and check out that Raimi trilogy. Watched it not too long ago. Completely holds up. Episode the third film, not so much, but first two, some of the best movies ever made. And that is it for the roundup today. As always, I have a little segment here for the free and heavily discounted games. We got a couple of free games from Epic Game Store until April 27th. First one is Beyond Blue. It's a single-player, narrative-driven underwater exploration game. Kind of like a chill-out game. Nothing too dramatic. I don't think you have to like avoid getting chomped by sharks and shit or whatever. But it's one of those things where it's just an underwater game. You kind of float around and do objectives and kind of follow a story. So there's that one. Next one is Never Alone. It's an indie puzzle platformer game. That one's also free until April 27th over on Epic Game Store. So I mentioned it last week. It's like, oh, last week was a pretty solid week for the games because we have weeks like this. You know what I mean? So nothing too juicy, but you know, something you can add to your roster. And that is it for the show this week. And as always, you can find us over at Nerd Chatter Show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can find the Nerd Chatter podcast and where you can find podcasts, including Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, and basically anywhere else you can find podcasts. Make sure you subscribe or follow while you're there. Much appreciated. All of our episodes are uploaded to our YouTube channel, where we also do weekly live streams playing various games and drinking and shit. If you can support us on there with the sub and a like, that'd be appreciated as well. Come chill, chit chat with us and chat. And if you'd like to support the show, you can head on over to our Discord. We still do have the bots working, posting the free game links and Twitter retweets and stuff that we do throughout the week. But with all this Elon business, no telling how long that's going to last. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And we'll be back next week. I'll see if I get Garrett on the show. We'll talk a little bit more Mando and all that good shit. But for this week, we are out.
Later.
Later.
Fuck you having? The Snickers bar and shit?
Jesus Christ.
He's like opening it all slow. And he's like...
The slower you open it, the quieter.
Finish up.
You're good.